Hi everyone, welcome back. My name is Emily and I am going to be doing a quick update to my what's in my hospital bag for mom and baby video. So I will link that video down below so that you can see the original. Basically, now that we are home from the hospital, I wanted to do a quick update and let you guys know what I did and didn't use and what I wish I'd had. So I think the one small detail that's going to come into play here is I did have an emergency C-section. So I ended up having to stay in the hospital for 3 nights, almost 4 days, which obviously felt like an eternity, which if you are only staying in the hospital for 24 hours, some of these things may be a little bit different, but part of me thinks, you know, I by no means thought that I was going to have a C-section or be there that long. And so I think it would be better just to be prepared and have these things and not have to use them than to not have them. So that's kind of my thought. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down. I made a list of everything that I said in that video that I brought in my bag and tell you if I used it and if I didn't, and then also tell you the things I wish I'd had and some kind of details. I actually packed the baby his own bag. I put it in his diaper bag. So I'm going to go over that one first. The first thing I packed for him was 2 onesies and 1 pair of pants. So I used one of the onesies and the pair of pants. That was the outfit we took him home in. And then I packed him 1 zip-up sleeper, and that's what he wore for a lot of the time that we were there, and I wish I would have packed him a second one. Again, we were there for quite a while. He wore that for a lot of the time we were there, but obviously it got very dirty and gross over time. So it would have been nice to have a second one. Every hospital is different, but the only thing that our hospital provided to put them in was they had these little shirts that had the handcuffs so that they couldn't scratch themselves, and it was just a shirt, and then they would keep them in their diaper. And so I liked having the little zip-up sleeper for him to be in. He was much more comfortable in it than the shirt. And the shirts were only one size, and they were big. I mean, he was a 7-pound, 10-ounce baby, which is, I think, pretty average. And the shirt was huge. So that was part of the other reason why I don't think he was very comfortable in it. So that's one of the things I would have brought, is an extra sleeper. The next thing I packed was a swaddle. We used a Swaddle Me Swaddle, which is a Velcro swaddle. And I am really glad we brought that, because the hospital does, you know, obviously provide those hospital blankets, and the nurses swaddle them up in those. But I tried a bunch of times and it never worked for me to swaddle him in those. And I always felt like it was more of a mess, and sometimes I felt like it was in his face and stuff like that. So after like a day, we just started using the swaddle we brought, and it worked perfect, and he really liked it. So I am glad we brought that. On that note, one of the things I packed was a muslin blanket. That was one of the few things that for him that we didn't use, because we didn't use it to swaddle him, and we didn't carry him out in his car seat, so we didn't use it for that either. So we did not use that. I packed 2 hats. I think I only used 1. He wore it in the hospital, and I think when we went home. Plus they provided the little pink and blue hat, and he wore that one too while we were in the hospital. I also packed water wipes, and I think I did use those at some point, but not really, because they provided wipes. And they provided Huggies wipes, and I mean, I prefer the water wipes, but since they were provided and they kept restocking them, we used the Huggies wipes, and we went through a bunch of them while we were there. Also packed a pacifier, and actually our hospital was very anti-pacifier, like very much so. But we actually did use it for him the second time. He had to retake his hearing screen because the first day he didn't pass it on one ear, which they said is really common for C-section babies because they haven't gotten all the fluid out. So we had to retake it a second time, and we used the pacifier while he did it the second time, which worked, and he passed. So we actually did use that pacifier. And once we got home, we didn't give him a pacifier. We didn't give him a pacifier for the first week. We were kind of trying to hold out and make sure he could at least breastfeed. But when we took him to but we were like kind of really wanting to give him a pacifier because he's definitely a sucker. And our pediatrician said it was completely fine to give it to him, and he's done great with it since. And then the last thing in his bag was his name blanket. So we got a blanket on Etsy printed with his name, And again, our original plan was after he was born to wrap him up in the blanket, and then when our parents came in to see him, that's how they would find out his name. But I did have an emergency C-section. So obviously all plans like that went out the window. My husband just rushed out once he was allowed to tell them that, you know, both the baby and I were fine and healthy, and he also told them his name at that point, which obviously was more than okay. But we still used it to take pictures of him and stuff, and we love it. And actually everyone loved the blanket. Moving on to my bag, the first thing I said that I packed was some cheap flip-flops that I got for about $2 to wear in the shower and around the hospital if I needed to. And yes, those were definitely a must. I definitely recommend them for when you have to shower in the hospital shower, to have some cheap flip-flops. That's just me. I actually wore the shoes that I wore to the hospital more around the hospital because they fit my swollen feet better. But I am glad that I had those to wear in the shower. The next thing was a phone charger. Yes, absolutely use that, plenty. I also brought a pack of wet ones, and no, I didn't use them, but I wish I had remembered they were in there, because there was a time where I was like looking for a disinfecting wipe. I don't remember why. And I couldn't find one, which I thought was surprising. I thought they would be in a hospital room. The next thing was an empty bag to take home the stuff from the hospital. Yes, I did use that, and yes, I do recommend that. So the last day when we knew we were going to be discharged, we took all the diapers and wipes and all the mesh underwear and pads and stuff like that that were left in the room, because they charge you for those anyway. So yes, I did use that bag. Plus they gave us some stuff for the baby to take home too. So I would recommend that. You know, obviously you can throw it in your suitcase or bag or whatever, but it was nice to have something to put it in. The next thing is Tux pads, and no, I didn't use those because, like I said, I ended up getting a C-section. Okay, then I went into what I brought in my toiletry bag, so I'll just go through that real quick. Makeup remover wipes, yes, I used those. In my video, I show that I packed these things called Dude's Shower Wipe, or Dude's No Shower Wipes, and yes, absolutely, I can't recommend these enough, and just in general. Now I'm obsessed with them, and I am gonna go buy more, but they are like these really, so I've tried lots of like shower type wipes before, just for like after the gym or whatever. These are the best. They are like a thick moistened wipe, and they aren't scented, but they are so nice. So I used those before I was allowed to shower, before honestly, before I could really like move well enough to shower, and then I used them like just each day because I felt gross in the hospital. So I used them every day, even though I did shower in the hospital. So I thought that was a must, and I was so glad I brought those. And I was so glad I brought those. So I guess it just depends on the person, but I would recommend those. A toothbrush, toothpaste, yes, I absolutely use that. Nursing pads, yes, I used those. Deodorant, mouthwash, and body wash, yes, I used those. Shampoo and conditioner, I did not use those. I didn't feel like washing my hair in the hospital. I was in so much pain. They like encourage you to shower and make you shower, and I was glad I got to rinse off, but I was not down to wash my hair. So that brings me to what I wish I would have brought in terms of toiletries. Number one is dry shampoo, which is funny because I bought dry shampoo, like a mini one, to put in my hospital bag, and I guess I forgot to put it in there. And I was like searching for it, but I didn't bring that. I wish I had, because I was not into washing my hair. And then the only other two things that I wish I would have brought in terms of toiletries, and again, that was partially because I was there much longer than I thought, is I wish I would have brought like a good deep cleansing face wash, and I wish I would have brought face moisturizer, which I don't know why I didn't bring that. I wonder if that was one of the things I like meant to pack the day of. But yes, I wish I'd had that. My skin was like so dried out from being in the hospital. And then the only like makeup I really used while we were there is like I brought my CC cream and lip balm. That's all I used. But I did. I got up in the morning, you know, like the second and third day, especially because a lot of people were visiting, and it just made me feel better because I felt like a complete mess and disaster. So I would like brush my hair, put on a little CC cream, a little lip balm, and I'd at least feel like a little better and a little more put together. So I did use those. Okay, the other things I packed were a nursing tank top, and I didn't use that because it was like a fitted tank top, and that was not something I was going to wear in the hospital after a C-section. But I did obviously use the nursing bra, so I used that the whole time we were there. So again, if I would have known better, it may have been nice to have a second nursing bra, but... Okay, and then my pink blush robe, yes, I absolutely wore that. I think I started wearing that as soon as I got to change out of my hospital gown, but I definitely wore it for like a whole day, I think. So that was really nice to have. And then I packed 2 pairs of pajamas, and yes, absolutely, if you pack nothing else, just pack yourself some pajamas to wear, because you are not going to want to wear that hospital gown for the whole time that you're there, especially if you're there for any extended period of time. I mean, even if you have a vaginal birth, sometimes they'll keep you there for 2-3 days, especially like depending on how long you were in labor. So yes, absolutely pack pajamas. I would recommend dark colored pajamas. So I did pack 1 pair that were white, and I wore the top, but I wore the dark bottoms from the other pair, because obviously that just seemed like a better idea. So dark colored pajamas if you have them. Okay, and then I packed myself a going home outfit, which was actually just leggings and a maternity top, but I didn't use that because I was so swollen. This is something I didn't expect. I mean, my legs were at least almost double the size of their normal size because I was that swollen from fluids, even when I went home 3 days later and for many days after that. So I wasn't even going to try putting on clothes. I just went home in pajamas and I was totally okay with that. So you may want a going home outfit. You may want to go home in pajamas. It's cool to have it as an option though. I didn't wear the high-waisted underwear that I brought, but I did end up packing some of the like diaper style underwear that I ordered on Amazon based on recommendations from people. And I'm glad that I packed some in my hospital bag because I ended up wearing those after like the first day, because I absolutely hate pads. I think they're ridiculous. Like, they never stay in place. They're so uncomfortable. So I actually wore those for the remainder of our hospital stay, and they were so much more comfortable. Obviously, that is a complete preference thing, and those are what I wore for the first couple days when I was home. And I thought they were so much more comfortable than wearing pads. Again, TMI, but you know, that I really feel like those were more comfortable. Okay, so the last couple things, yes, we did use the Kindle. We forgot to grab the camera on our way out, but that's okay. I mean, we took a bunch of pictures on my husband's iPhone 10 and they came out good. So one more thing that I wish I had brought was headphones, because there was a lot of random times where like I was awake and my husband was sleeping, or he was awake and I was sleeping, and it would have been nice to like watch some videos on my phone with headphones so I wouldn't wake him up, or on the Kindle. So that's one of the only things I wish I brought. Obviously not a big concern when you're packing for the hospital. But again, we were there for 4 days, so it was a long time. Okay, and the very last thing that I brought that I think is a must that everyone should bring is I brought a large Yeti tumbler. So I think like bringing some sort of like large water bottle or tumbler is a must, because my husband filled it up with water and ice the entire time we were there. And I know a lot of hospitals give you those big cups with the straws. Ours did not. The only thing that they had was little styrofoam cups. My husband was filling up the Yeti, which was like 30 or 32 ounces. He was filling that up like 6 times a day. So if we were only using those styrofoam cups, obviously we would have been filling them up like every 5 minutes. And they did give you like a tiny little pitcher that you could go fill up your styrofoam cups. But I am so glad that we had that Yeti. That made all the difference. And my husband was actually like the water police, and he was filling it up constantly and like making sure I had plenty of fluids. So that was nice. Another thing that I don't think that I didn't mention in the video, but we did bring a bag of snacks. And we actually went and got those like a couple days before, and we got all things that were like single serve or whatever that we could put in a Ziploc, and we put in the hospital bag that they wouldn't obviously go bad or whatever. And I'm so glad we did that, because we ate all of those snacks, like not the day I was in labor, but like the next day, and obviously throughout. So I'm so glad that we did that, and I would definitely recommend that and honestly I would probably bring more next time if I was doing it again. So that is everything. I hope this is helpful to see what I packed in my bag and what I actually used and what I wish I had. You can kind of see that I actually did pretty well in my packing, and I'm glad because I got a lot of advice from a lot of different people. There's only a couple few things that I wish I'd had, but obviously none of them were like must-haves, or I may have had somebody go get them. They just would have been nice to have. And like I said, obviously I was in the hospital for a lot longer, but you just never know. I never expected to be there for 4 days, so I guess it's better to pack a little extra and have it and not use it than to not have the things that you need. So I hope this was helpful when you're packing your hospital bag, and congratulations on your new little addition. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.